I think alone we are restrained by the information and the knowledge that we have. But if we would come together as industry, then we can maybe alleviate the workload so that no one company needs to manage this stuff, but it would be shared equally between a network of different companies. I'm Daniel Rantala, and I'm Chief Growth Officer from a company called Fingersoft. I'm looking at all things business and marketing, so my role is like a combination of a CMO and CBO. Sustainability is a topic for the future because we all can contribute somehow. And for an example, in our case, we have approximately 50 million monthly active users, and our largest emissions stem from things like servers that are, of course, required to keep the games running, as well as then traveling, because there is obviously a lot of conferences where we need to send people to. And it's incredibly difficult to track the emissions, or if we go to basic things like electricity and what kind of emissions we're creating from the overall operations of the whole business. So it's complicated to find a unified way to get all of that information. And we also don't have any other companies with whom we could maybe share information and learn from, or vice versa. So we thought that Sustainable Games Alliance could be the perfect vehicle to help us maybe achieve a little bit more in unifying our information and also getting the best practices from others. We started to look at the basically offsetting and all of our emissions in 2022. And originally it came from simply because we wanted to be aware of what our actual effect is on the climate. And then secondarily, there's been increasingly more regulations around the topic, especially within the European Union. So we thought that we wouldn't have to report officially yet. That might come down along the road. So we wanted to prepare and definitely understand how to calculate these things better. Within Fingersoft, there is a certain group of people within our employees who care about the environment a lot. And they always make those individual decisions that are less harmful for the climate, even with the cost of, let's say, extra money or extra time for sure. As an example, there is a person who is traveling quite a bit, so he's always taking the trains within the European Union or taking the ship when it makes more sense environmentally, even though it might take one extra day comparing to flying. I would say that in general, within our company, people do believe that we should do our part. And also there's, of course, those small everyday decisions. Just this morning, I arrived to Helsinki from Oulu, and the flight would have been easy and it would have been short, but I took the night train and I slept like a baby there. So it's like everybody wins. At least our management is 100% supportive of these decisions because, realistically speaking, remote working and the internet penetration across the whole world is already so good that you can literally work almost from anywhere. So it doesn't really matter if the person is sitting in the office or if they're sitting whatever, as long as the work gets done, and our employees always manage their work so that it gets done. So we have full trust that they're capable of doing their things. And I mean, it's a good cause. The only way to truly make any meaningful change from the games industry is that we should all commit to the cause together. And that would mean sharing information and sharing best practices, maybe even having a summit once per year where we would be discussing these things. I think alone we are restrained by the information and the knowledge that we have. And it's currently super difficult to allocate any 100% resources to look at these things because we're all busy and we all have our live games and we all have our new projects. And then this is kind of this thing that's happening on the side. But if we would come together as industry, like at least, let's say 50 biggest companies would really start looking into this, then we can maybe alleviate the workload so that no one company needs to manage this stuff, but it would be shared equally between a network of different companies. That would be incredible. For those companies who are considering joining the Sustainable Games Alliance, but might not see that as a current thing to do, I would maybe advise to think more future-facing, because these are matters that will anyways come up on every company's door, no matter what the size is. I don't know the exact time frame. I think nobody knows that as of yet. But let's say that within the next 5 years, I'm pretty confident that we will have these new reporting systems in place, and most of those might be mandatory. So for us, we also think of joining the Sustainable Games Alliance as an insurance that if we're going to have to do this at some point, then we will learn how to do it already before it's mandatory.